Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. In the last video, we went over advanced uh, to include all the different fonts, variables, spawners, some experimental features. We even looked at making different plugins and how we can do either Node.js or runtime plugins, editor being a type of runtime plugin. We're not going to go over migration really because if you're starting new, you should already know you shouldn't need to migrate. This just simply tells you the differences between the old version, like 2.0, 2.x to 3.x. Some various things have changed, but if you're starting um, brand new, as I am assuming that you are, you shouldn't need to migrate, so we're not going to go over that. So back to this page, we have all these fancy cool things. If I open this up, we just finished the whole docs section. In this video, we're going to go over APIs. In the next video, we're going to go over blogs. These two videos are more of, hey, what else is out there? Now that I've mastered Motion Canvas, how can I increase my learnings? So if we go to the API section, if we go to maybe first scene, we can see that this is 2D, this is core. What other options are there for me? This is more like an SDK or a library. When people hear API, I typically think of like web requests. That's not the case. So let's take a closer look at our different things that we can do. So this is core that we have. So API, and then this is Motion Canvas core. So we're mostly talking about this section right here. So if I look at app, you can see it comes from core lib app. So if I really wanted to, I could do /lib/app, but now I'm importing the entire package. What I could do for everything Motion Canvas related is I can just go Motion Canvas. And then it should technically work. If I go to Node Modules, Motion Canvas, we have 2D Core, FFmpeg UI, Invite plugin. This right here covers core. So if I click on core, library, you can see app, decorators, event, flow, media, all that kind of fun stuff. And this maps to what we're going to be talking about. So if I go to app here, these are the raw files. This talks about the raw files. And we can see Motion Canvas core lib app, Motion Canvas core lib app. This is where it's located. So we have our enumerations, our classes, our interfaces. And this, again, is just going to be a very brief overview of everything. We're not going to go too in-depth. If this is just so, hey, I want to do X, Y, and Z. Does this exist? If you watch this video, you'll know it does. Or not. But we have create setting metadata, make project, and that's it for, what is this, app? So if I try to find app in here, app doesn't exist. Actually, it does. It's right here. So it should be all of this stuff. So if I go to, let's say, player, let's see. Okay, so we have app, so that's the overview page. Then we have all these different sections within app. Then we have our decorators, events, flow, media. So if I just go to, I don't know, player here, and I can go to player here. So our class is player. And we have our constructors, our projects, audio, logger, playback status, and we can try to relate that over here. Should be an audio, and there's a logger, playback, and we can see that playback has a playback manager, which comes from playback manager, and this is how you would navigate the logic and the code in the node modules to try to figure out exactly what items do I have access to. The code, in a way, because it's JS, is self-documenting, kind of. It's not bytecode, it's not assembly. You can't just go into a C library or a Java library and say, hey, what do I have access to? With Node.js, you have the ability to, because it's super cool like that. But that's how you would learn more about that. We also have this documentation that if you don't want to search the code, you can go through here, and it's easily searchable using this field box up there. So accessors on frame change, on state change, events, on render. We have active, add volume, clamp range, configure, deactivate, is in range. I'm not going to read all these, I'm just going to scroll. Okay, and then we got presenter. And the list goes on and on. And you can also, let's say, go to log level. There's a silly log level, verbose, warm. It's an enum. So that's just a list of strings. We can go to exporter maybe and see how that works. And you can just jump around through the different items in here. We also have decorators. We have events. There's also flow, media, meta, plugin, plugins over here. So if you want to learn more about plugins and what are available, that's there. You can think of this more like the Java docs if you're used to Java. Scenes. So talked about variables before. We talked about slides, random. There's also signals that we've talked about. Signal tween, vector to edit. If you want to go threading, so here's a thread runner. So if you want to do a multi-threaded application, you can do that. Why you would, I don't know, but you very easily could. Then we have tweening, transitions, or different types. So B-box, for example, was one of the questions that we had earlier. And this would go into what a B-box is. Only it really doesn't. It just gives you what options are available. And then you would need to experiment with it, learn what a B-box actually is. There's a toString, toUniform, WebGL. It's interesting. So all of that fun stuff. WebGL convertible. Then there's also utils. So there's a detail error. And there's all this other stuff. And that was just, we go back to first scene, that was just within core. In 2D, There's no 3D. We have code, components, curves, decorators, partial scenes, and utils. So if I go to code, you can see what items that we have for just code specifically. So all these different parts. We have components. So we go back to code component. We have path. We have our node. If you wanted to learn more about, I don't know, let's say you wanted to know more about SVG. So then you know SVG extends shape, extended by LaTeX, and this is everything you need to know about all the different options that you could ever want if you want to incorporate SVGs. If you want to do video, for example, this would be everything that you'd want to know about video. And same thing with scenes. We have a scene 2D. All that fun stuff, get node, etc. Then we have utils that are available to us. And that really is everything that you would want to know about the API. If there's anything in here that was interesting or you want to explore more, I would highly encourage that. One more thing is, if I wanted to learn more about, let's say, make scene 2D, I can go copy make scene 2D, paste it here, and I can see that there's a scene section of the documentation. So we're in 2D lib scene. So the other way you can get to that is you can go to motion canvas 2D, where we were at, go to scene 2D. We were just here actually. And then if I scroll down, there should be a make scenes if I just search for it. Maybe not. Let's go back here. Yeah, all at the very bottom. Okay. Oh, I see what happened. So I clicked scene 2D. Shouldn't have done that. Should have just clicked in this parent object scenes. And then you can see make scene 2D, and it takes a runner, which is a thread generator factory, and then it returns a description of scene 2D. If I want to know more about a thread generator factory, to go here, type parameters is of type T. I wanted to see what T was. And I can continue through and go down the rabbit hole of trying to figure out in depth what makes scene 2D actually is, instead of just, hey, it's something that we need to use and is required. Make scene 2D makes me think that maybe there might be a 3D in the future, but this is just an example of how you can get lost in the weeds of the documentation if you need to. So with that, thank you for watching. The next video will be about the blog section. The blog, in summary, is just, hey, this has been updated. This is what you need to do in order to update. It's very useful, and I would highly encourage people to look at it from time to time to see, hey, what has gotten updated, or anytime that you update Motion Canvas, you look at the blog, and we'll cover all of those different changes in the next video. So until then, have a great day.